Coloring, playing number games, and working in the school garden are just a few of the daily activities in Miss Yara's pre-K and kindergarten class. But this class isn't like your typical nursery school, and the students aren't what you would expect. On the top floors of the Miami Lighthouse for the Blind in the Little Havana neighborhood is where one would find this special learning center for children. The Learning Center is a private public funded initiative that brings together both sighted and visually impaired children in the same infant and pre-K classrooms.
Because we live in a sighted world, the sighted need to know how to function with people with disabilities, and people with disabilities know how to fit in, especially when you're visually impaired, with a sighted world.
Started by blind activists in the 1920s, the Miami Lighthouse is an organization that provides resources and support to the visually impaired of all ages. They hope for a more inclusive society in which the blind and visually impaired can thrive, starting in the classroom right up to the workforce and the computer screen. For the youngest in their community, the school uses the high-scope curriculum, one that emphasizes active participatory learning and is used by public schools across Miami-Dade County.
They allow us to, do our lessons here, allow us to be creative. The more creativity we put in the classes, the more it's appreciated. So that's very satisfying and gratifying as a teacher.
And the in-class creativity has been paying off, as Miami Lighthouse was recently recognized for being one of the best. A study supported by the Children's Trust from the University of Miami found that interactions between teachers and students exceeded national averages for pre-K and toddler classes. It also found students improved their social and peer interaction skills.
We've found and have published children with visual impairments are developing at similar rates in their peer play and their empathy skills compared to children without visual impairment. So it's really kind of exciting to see that there aren't really any big gaps between them, or they're developing similarly based on the classrooms that we're seeing.
The research grant has supported the study for the past 5 years, and the Miami Lighthouse president says the impact measured can be attributed to the inclusive classroom environments.
So to exceed that national average, when you include blind children and sighted peers, and then exceed the national average, that is, in essence, an impact and an outcome for which I know the Children's Trust was very proud to support.
Meet Amubuena Dupoy. Her mother says she started losing her eyesight at just 3 years old.
Right after everything happened, we decided to keep her in her regular preschool. And we noticed a little girl who came home crying, frustrated, very tired, and we really didn't know what was going on.
In their search for resources, Almubuena's doctors referred her family to the Miami Lighthouse, and Claudia says it changed so much about her daughter's life.
At the beginning, she will only be with adults, and she was still a little bit frustrated and a crying little girl, but after 3-4 months, she started being a normal girl. So they really knew how to handle and how to help kids without impairment, and at the same time they teach at home what we can do to help them.
One of the most important findings from the study is that students have shown increased empathy scores.
It's really, when I found out the first time, is that you don't even notice that they're visually impaired. Basically, that's what it is. They go through their day-to-day like all the other children. The other children treat them the same way, and they treat the other kids the same. So nobody really notices that there's an impairment. To me, that's the most beautiful lesson. Yeah.
We share.
The research further emphasizes how an inclusive learning environment can serve as the driving force for improved empathy scores.
I think why we saw some increases in empathy over the years in children is because they're constantly surrounded by people different than them, and they're forced to understand that, their friend sometimes can't do the same thing the same way as they can. And so the teachers are really great at elaborating on why that is.
Empathy and inclusion are important pillars in the Miami Lighthouse's mission, but at the end of the day, this is still a school, one that goes past teaching your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s.
How do you safely use a cane when you're blind? How do you learn good mobility skills so you can be out in the public and be independent? I believe that these children can do anything that their sighted peers do, but they are learning how to do some things a bit differently.
The Miami Lighthouse's goal is that after their students complete the second grade, they are able to attend a public elementary school with other sighted children.
I really think she will keep in touch with all these institutions because for her it's like a security spot, and any question or thing that she will have, she knows that she will have someone here who can help her and give her a hand to get through that issue.
For UMTV, I'm Maya Broadwater.